This story is set in Kutch. Do you know where Kutch is? Which part of India is it in? Kutch is in Gujarat. Do you know where in Gujarat it is? This is Kutch, bordering Pakistan. It has a vast salt desert in the north called the Rann. Do you know how a salt desert is formed? It happens when the sea enters the land, then evaporates and leaves behind the salt. There are scrubby grasslands to the south called Bunny. This is what a rich grassland looks like. This is how a dry scrubland looks. We begin the story in the grassland. Do you know what a hedgehog is? Shiro is a baby hedgehog who lives underground in a burrow with her parents. One day, Shiro sees some people with instruments in the grassland. What do you think these people are doing? Shiro can't figure out what they're up to. She has a bad feeling about it. So, she scampers off to look for her friends to see if they know anything about these men. The first friend she meets is Gho, the monitor lizard. He is flicking his forked tongue out to taste the air. He says he saw the men too, but doesn't know anything about them. But Saslu might know, as he has big ears. Shiro and Gho look for Saslu. At first, they can't see him. They only see two leaf-like objects sticking out of the grass. Before Gho can say anything, the ears suddenly become a full animal. It is Saslu. Saslu is a hare. A hare is not the same as a rabbit, though it looks similar. Even as Saslu is greeting his friends, a shadow passes over them. The three animals freeze. Why do you think they do this? But it is no bird of prey as they feared, but Bagla the cattle egret. Do you know what an egret is and where it usually lives? When Shiro tells everyone about the men she saw, Bagla says she also saw some huge yellow animals not far from where the men were. But she didn't know what it was. Bagla suggests they meet Pado, the bunny buffalo. She was sure that Pado would know something because he was taken care of by other humans called Maldharis. Do you know what Maldharis are and what they do? Pado takes them to where the rest of his herd is and asks them where his human companion is. Suleiman Kaka the Maldhari is sitting under a tree. He says, Pado, you have brought some interesting friends with you. Shiro tells him about the men and Bagla talks about the yellow beast with claws. Pado asks him if he knows about anything strange happening in the grassland. Suleiman Kaka grows serious and explains to them that the men were measuring out land to build a factory on it. The clawed animals are machines called bulldozers which have come to dig up the grassland. The men are even planning to mine the salt desert to feed the factory. We have to do something to save our habitat, exclaims Suleiman Kaka. All the animals are shocked. They cannot even speak. They just stare in dismay. Only one thought is in their minds. We must do something. That evening, the animals have an emergency meeting. They invite more animals from the desert, grassland, and nearby lakes. There is Undardo the gerbil, Varu the Indian wolf and her pups, Ghorpad the wild ass, Oont the camel, and Shahudi the drowsy porcupine. Shiro gives a speech about how they will all lose their homes if the factory is built. She says, Gho uncle, Saslu bai, Pado ji, Oont kaka, Shahudi ben, and Undardo. You know how important the grassland is for you. And Bagla ben, what will happen if they pollute your lake? And think about the fish. They will all die. How will we welcome our migratory bird friends who spend winter here? And our friends in the desert, they too will lose their home if the sand is mined. If the acacia and other trees and the bare bushes are cut, our bird friends will have nowhere to perch on and nothing to eat. Surely we have to do something. She is worried about the young animals being separated from their parents. Friends, if the factory comes, there will be no playgrounds left for us and we will all lose our homes. And maybe some nasty humans will catch us and take us away from our homes and our parents. All the animals are worried, but Shahudi seems to have fallen asleep. Shiro wonders why. Why do you think Shahudi is so sleepy? Shiro did not have much time to be baffled though. Just then, Shahudi suddenly jumps up and drops a few of his quills close to Shiro. Instinctively, Shiro curls up into a defensive ball. But of course, Shahudi had not meant to hurt Shiro. Rather, she tells Shiro with a twinkle in her eye, "You can use my quills." But as Shiro was wondering what they could do with the quills, suddenly someone plucks one out of her hand. Shiro's mother had come out looking for her because it was very late in the evening. She is very angry that Shiro was playing with porcupine quills and talking to so many big, dangerous animals like Varu the wolf. The other animals continued to plan what they could do, while Shiro is taken home by her mother to eat dinner, which she was very late for. That night in the burrow, Shiro cannot sleep. She was tossing and turning. She does not know what the rest of her friends were planning. She wants very badly to be a part of it, but also knows that it is not safe for her to be out alone. The first thing next morning, Shiro scampers out to see what was happening. She sees Undardo and Shahudi in the distance. They are laughing very hard at something. Just then, as she comes up to them, Shiro is startled by a big noise. Shahudi's sharp quills had punctured the tires of the bulldozer. Shiro realizes that the animals had placed them at just the right spot on the road. The men are puzzled as to how the quills got there. And then, suddenly the vehicle starts sinking into the ground. They cannot believe their eyes as perfectly solid ground had started caving in. Soon, only the jaws were sticking out. When the dust settles, they see a horde of mice. That's what the men thought, but actually they were gerbils. Emerge from the ground under the bulldozer. A team of 100 of them had spent the night digging up the soil with their tiny paws. The men call up their manager and tell him all what happened. He cannot believe his ears, so he decides to drive down to the factory site to see for himself. But he is stopped on the way by a strange storm, which turns out to be a swarm of butterflies and dragonflies hovering above the road. As the storm clears, there appears behind the insects an approaching crowd of animals. Varu Baba had also spread the word among the various wolf packs. How does a wolf howl? Yes, that is the sound Varu Baba and the pack made. Shahudi had alerted the other porcupines. So they are also here in large numbers, for once forgetting their sleep. Has anyone heard what a porcupine sounds like? Pagla also told other birds, and there they are, carrying banners about saving their homes and saving Kutch. The animals march into Bhuj town. It is a rally of the kind the residents of Bhuj have never seen before. News reporters cover it live. School students and Maldharis had also joined in the protest. They too are concerned about the effects of the factory and other industries like this coming up in Kutch. A large crowd gathers outside the district collector's office. Do you know what a district collector is and what their role is? The collector is signing papers in his room when he hears the slogans being shouted outside his window. He walks over to the window, wondering what the strange noise was about. Apart from slogans, he could also hear all kinds of animals. He's seen a few protests in his time, but never one with animals. He is a bit scared, but still invites them in. Suleiman Kaka represents the procession and tells the collector why they are all here. He gives him the plans for the factory. The district collector looks at the plans and, to everyone's surprise, immediately crumples them. He tells Suleiman Kaka, Shiro, and all the other animals that the plans to build the factory have been cancelled. Apparently, news of the animals' protest had already reached the government, and it had acted unusually fast to cancel the plans. All the animals rejoice. They are happy and immediately start rejoicing in a huge cacophony of sounds. Let's all make the sounds of wolves, buffaloes, egrets, eagles, camels, snakes, and whatever else you can imagine. As a very happy Shiro heads home, she wants to ask Gho about his forked tongue, but notices that he is fast asleep on Ghorpad's back. She would have to wait until the next adventure to ask.